Drake Detective Agency. Yeah, Eddie Drake speaking. Doing what? When? Okay, who do I ask for? Dr. Gale? Where? I'll see you around 5. Well, come right in. Sit down. Hey, French?
A very brilliant observation, monsieur.
What can I do for you?
Permit me. My name is Fauré, Pierre Fauré. I select you to perform for me a very important service.
Such as?
Oui. Now we come to it. Last night, monsieur, I performed a most impulsive act. I kill a man.
I see. You're a big boy now. You've got to learn to control yourself.
You are right. That is how I am. I kill him and I do not have regret.
This is better than a double feature. Got a cigarette?
Oui.
Thanks.
I warned this man, monsieur. Twice I warned him to stay away from Sally, my wife. He does not. So I kill him. It is so simple.
You make it sound so reasonable. Who was the lucky lover?
A pig named Miller. It is in the papers. Oh, such a fuss.
Frederick Miller, the attorney, huh?
Oui. Cochon.
I saw the papers. What are you going to do about it?
That is why I come to you, monsieur. I'm on my way now to the City Hall of Justice.
Giving yourself up?
Oui, but it is not serious. When I explain to the man in charge of justice why I killed this Miller, he will let me go.
Yeah, I know. He's cute that way. What did you come to me for?
To hold 2 things for me, monsieur. 1, $500. And 2, this little key.
This key?
Oui. You will hold it until the man in charge of the justice has heard my case. When I return, you will give it to me.
Suppose you don't return.
It is certain. How do I know? I am a Frenchman. I have what you call the intuition. But if by some silly mistake I am detained by what you call a conviction of guilty, you will give it to my lawyer.
Why don't you give it to him now?
He still remains to be selected. But I do not wish to surrender myself to the justice dispenser with this key on my person.
And the 500?
That, you keep it, monsieur, for your trouble. N'est-ce pas?
Nest.
Come in. Mr. Drake, won't you sit down?
Thanks. I have an appointment with Dr. Gale. Is he in?
I'm Dr. Gale.
You are Dr. Gale?
Why, yes, shouldn't I be?
Yes, but I didn't expect Dr. Gale to be a woman. At least not as much as all this.
Save the flattery, Mr. Drake. Your surprise isn't very original.
Oh. Well, what's your problem?
I want to retain you to talk to me.
I know a good escort service.
Do I look as if I need one?
No. You don't look as if you need me either.
Oh, but I do. Let me explain. I'm a psychiatrist, Mr. Drake. You do know about psychiatry.
Yeah. People come to you to get their heads examined.
Well, that's one way of putting it. I prefer to think of myself as a student of all abnormal behavior of the human mind.
Okay. Only you took more words to say it.
That's a failing common to most doctors, I believe. Well, I think you'll agree with me that most criminals are definitely abnormal in their mental processes.
Now, you've said something. If they weren't screwy, they wouldn't be criminals.
Now, you said something that was a very profound observation.
It was?
Oh, it was. And that's just why I'm writing a book on criminal psychology. Oh, I know many such books have been written, but I intend to approach the subject differently.
I see. What do you mean?
Well, most sources for such material are to be found in criminal files and court records. They consist of cut-and-dried statements of facts. That's not what I'm after. I want my material to be fresh and stimulating. You were recommended to me for that purpose.
Which was I recommended as? Fresh or stimulating?
You were recommended as a man with a remarkable affinity for crimes of violence, a sort of specialist in murder. You were also described as personable, intelligent, and honest.
Say, you make me feel very important. Is that one of the tricks of a psychiatrist?
No, that's one of the tricks of a woman. Well, Mr. Drake, what do you say?
All you want me to do is, whenever I've finished a case, come here and tell you about it?
That's right. I want to know all about the criminals you meet. What they say, how they act, why they do the things they do.
Well, I guess you know what you're after, Doctor. What's your first name?
Karen, why?
I've just made up my mind what I'm after.
I hope you're referring to your fee.
Of course. I'm on a case now. See you in a few days. Karen? After Ferret left my office, I sat there fingering the 500 and the key. It was a small, plain, brass key with no marks on it, except the numbers 427. I was beginning to figure Ferret as a small, plain nut. But after I left here, I picked up one of the papers and saw where he confessed to the killing of Miller. The later editions told how Timothy Hogan, the wild Irish criminal lawyer, had come forward with an offer to defend Ferret. Next morning, Hogan came to my office. I had a hunch he would.
As sure as I'm sitting here in your office, Mr. Drake, I am certain that Pierre Ferret did not kill Miller.
He confessed.
Ah, sure, there you have a darling confession. A Frenchman, a crime of passion, and he gives himself up. No, no. Not Ferret, not after talking to the man.
Well, what's your guess?
Think, man, think. Can't you see?
All I can see is you.
Obviously, he's covering up for someone. Someone he loves.
His wife?
Yeah, you're getting there. You know, that's what attracts me to this case. It's sentimental and violent.
Could be. So what do you want with me?
I need your help. I know one thing. Yesterday, before he gave himself up, Ferret came to see you. What did he tell you?
Nothing.
Did he give you anything?
Nothing.
I don't think you are telling me the gospel truth.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm, I see. Very well, I shall try to persuade Ferret to give you permission to talk to me. In the meantime, Mr. Drake, you might try and sound out the wife for me. Very, very discreetly, mind you, but sound her out.
Are you hiring me?
Yes. Will you see what you can do?
How about a little retainer? I'll do my best. Mrs. Ferret?
Oh, all day long you report.
I'm a detective.
Say what you have to say and then go away.
I'm working for your husband's lawyer on the Miller killing. You knew Miller?
Sure I know him. But what is there to work on? My husband shot him.
Pierre says you were seeing Miller.
What if I was?
Might save him from the chair.
Then I wasn't. Now go away.
Just a minute. Ever see this key?
No. Now get out. And tell Pierre I'll try to get a ringside seat for his execution.
Charming girl. When I was leaving the building, I had a feeling that someone was watching me. Instinctively, I avoided going to my car and turned into an alley instead. He asked for the key. For a moment, it occurred to me that I was bigger than he was. But then I saw the gun. There was little I could do. I handed over the key. And with the agility of a wild rabbit, the man disappeared. I've been trying to follow him all over town. I don't think that he was aware of my presence when he turned into the station. He headed straight for one of the lockers, and just as he opened it... When I finally came to, I saw my friend Detective Lieutenant Walsh of the Homicide Bureau hanging over me and found that my man had been blown to bits. And several passers-by had been seriously injured. I'd been lucky. When I mentioned Foray, Walsh told me that he hung himself in his cell. He took me down to headquarters and tried to connect me with a Miller killing. Couldn't hang anything on me, so he had to let me go. I went around the corner to see Jenny the bail bond. Jenny's been around this town longer than the city charter. Say, baby, I'm getting a little hoarse. How about a drink?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being a very poor hostess. I'll get you something.
Thanks. Can I give you a hand?
No, thanks. Here you are.
Thanks. Sit here, Karen.
No, thanks.
Well, anyway, I asked Jenny what she knew about Hogan. She didn't know anything, but promised to find out for me by morning. I hailed a cab to get back to my car when the butt of a gun or something landed most ungracefully on my skull. I was out again. It was the cold water that brought me out of it. I opened my eyes.
Douse him again, Ma. All right. Come on. You hear me? He's coming, too. Give me a drag. Drake. Come on. Get up. Drake. Come on. You hear me, Drake? Drake. Oh.
Give me a drink of water.
Give him a drink, Ma. You're making a lot of trouble for us, Drake. And it ain't necessary. Just look at yourself. Well, you know, we don't like to do things like this, do you? Just look at me old lady's rug.
Well, don't let it break you up.
look at yourself. And for what?
You tell me. For what?
Because you're stubborn.
I'm not very smart. What am I stubborn about?
All we want to know is, where's the envelope for Ray gave you?
Just look at that rug.
All right, Ma, we'll have it cleaned. All right, I'm through talking nice to you. Where's the envelope for Ray gave you?
Ray didn't give me an envelope.
Michael, for goodness sake, be careful of the furniture.
When I came to, I didn't know where I was. I rolled over and raised myself to my knees, then to my feet. That was the toughest thing I ever did. But as I stumbled out of the lot, holding onto the parked cars, things came gradually back to me. This time, I made sure that the cab was empty before I got in. I started to put two and two together. And when I finally added things up, they led me to Sally Foray. She was just coming home as I got out of my cab. I followed her into the house, noticing in passing that I had a parking ticket on my car.
What happened to you?
Where's your phone, Mrs. Foray? Hello, Jenny. Drake speaking. How does it shape? What about his background? Thanks, baby. That's all I wanted to know. Keep a nice fat bail bond warm for me.
I'm in a hurry. I was just going out.
You mean you just came in?
Well,
I saw you. What did you and Hogan tell Pierre yesterday in his cell that made him hang himself?
I didn't want to go through with the thing, but Hogan insisted. I guess I blew my top. I told Pierre what I was going to tell the jury about Miller.
What about Miller?
I was in love with him.
I guess you'll have to try and get over him. What's in the package you brought home?
What package?
The one on the table. Let's open it. From Pierre's deposit box?
I'm his widow, remember? The jewels are mine.
And this?
$1,000 bills. There must be 50 of them. I wonder where he got them.
Not in my business. And this envelope.
This looks legal. I think maybe we'd better open this in front of an attorney. I'll call Hogan.
After you get Hogan on the phone, call Lieutenant Walsh at police headquarters. Tell him to come over here right away.
Anything you say, Eddie.
We got a big surprise for him, baby.
Mr. Hogan, please. I'll wait.
48, 49, 50 G's on the nose. Oh, what happened to you, Drake?
I ran into an open gunsel in the dark.
Oh, really now? Where?
I didn't get the address, but it was at the home of some hood by the name of Mike, who's on your payroll.
I see. What else do you know?
I'll give it to you fast. Miller found out that you weren't a member of the bar. Never finished law school. Why, you weren't even a shyster.
That's why I killed him.
Put the heater away, Hogan. Walsh is on his way up.
What about Forey's confession?
That's the deal you made with him. 50 G's if he confessed to the murder of Miller. You convinced him that you could get him acquitted. But just for protection, He wanted a full confession from you. This little envelope here. Just in case anything went wrong, and plenty did. He didn't trust you. He knew you'd try and get that confession back.
Yeah, he figured I'd get my head blown off in that booby trap. But no soap. I sent someone else, rest his soul. Anything else you'd like to know before you join this friend of mine?
Yeah. How did you manage to kill Foray in his cell?
That, my friend, is a trade secret which I cannot divulge.
You're a smart guy, Hogan. It's a shame I have to turn you over to Walsh.
You're priceless, Drake. But you made just one little mistake. You see, Sally here didn't call Walsh.
That true, Sally?
I ran out of nickels. Call him yourself, Mr. Drake.
You know, Drake, it's remarkable you've stayed alive as long as you have. Can you give me one good reason why I shouldn't get rid of you?
Would you mind repeating that question? What did you do? Take a trolley?
I was hoping I'd be late.
Timothy Hogan died right there. They're trying to patch up Sally at the hospital.
But how did Walsh know?
Oh, I'd called him before I went up to Sally's apartment. She's not exactly the type you can trust with carrying out instructions.
Unreliable like most women, eh?
Are you trying to get me to say something that'll put me in bed with my employer?
No. I'm just looking at myself primarily as a psychiatrist.
Mind if I do my own looking?
Without undue emphasis, I hope.
I'll try and keep it under control. What did you think of the first installment?
Oh, very interesting. Although I must confess I wasn't expecting anything quite so gory.
Gory? I thought I was breaking you in on one of the milder cases.
Miles, do you mean to tell me you get into this sort of thing all the time?
Only when business is good.
You must lead a very fascinating life.
It has its moments.
You know, if you could guarantee a minimum of shooting, I think I'd like to get my material firsthand sometime.
I'll see what I can line up. As long as you're sticking your neck out. How about having dinner with me?
That wasn't part of our bargain.
It is now.
Well, if you insist. This week's story, The Brass Key, was written by Jason James, produced by Harlan Thompson and Herbert Strock, and directed by Paul Garrison. The players were Kurt Conway as Pierre, John Hoyt as Hogan, Joan Barton as Sally, Theodore von Elst as Walsh, Lenny Bremen as the Thug, and starring Don Haggerty as Eddie Drake.
And last but not least, Patricia Morrison as Dr. Karen Gale. We hope you'll be with us next week, same time, same station, for another episode in
The Cases of Eddie Drake.